What is up, everyone? It is Friday night. My name is Steve Boykin, and this is Get Your Shit Together. This is the interwebs premier call-in show. I'm in Sacramento. I'm here because tomorrow I'm going to be marching along with Adam Kokesh and a number of other people for the In the Damn Wars event. This is the 20th anniversary of September 11th. This is the event that Magnus helped organize or put together, and a number of sister events sprung up all over the country. If you are anywhere near Washington, D.C., get out there tomorrow. If you're anywhere near Sacramento or Los Angeles or Jacksonville, Florida, or Denver, Colorado, number of other places, go to inthedamnwars.org and see if there's an event near you. If not, fucking stand out with a sign, man. It's been 20 years since 9/11. 20 years. Shouts to people coming in on the YouTube. CR, what's up? Thank you for staying down in Santa Cruz. I could not. Steve Cutler, Tedros Speakra, what's happening in DC? Glad that you're out there, brother. I'm hoping that you're gonna go hang out with the folks walking around and raising hell tomorrow. Gamer, what's happening? Good to see you. You guys, we're gonna open the phone lines here in about 10-15 minutes. I would love to hear, maybe we could do this. Maybe we could hear some 9/11 stories from you guys. I think most of you know mine, know where I was, shit like that. If not, we can get into it. But I'd like to know what you've seen happen in your world, in your community since 9/11. What you thought the world was like, what you thought it was going to be like if you were, old enough when it happened to have those kind of thoughts. We can definitely get into that. Before we get up and running, I would like to remind everyone that the show is entirely viewer supported. We do have a GoFundMe up and running. It's how we pay the bills. If you can, please throw a couple of bucks at that. If you can't, I get it, but please share the link because it helps quite a bit. The show has a sponsor, Matrix Bars. Matrix Bars, 3.5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms in a chocolate bar, and they work, and they're real, and holy fuck is it fun. I highly, and also highly recommend this product. I do. I honestly, if you were going to use it to microdose, a half a square is probably enough for you. I've been slacking on this. I've got a couple of different videos that I need to put together and upload on this shit. I'm fucking busy, man. But you guys, MATRAX, GENETIX. That's how you get a hold of them on Twitter and Instagram. DM them, the White Rabbit will show up, or you can just scan the QR code there, and they will help you on your journey. Matrix Genetics, down that rabbit hole. So you guys know that, I think but I recently moved up to Humboldt County. I did let's see. I'm sorry, there's a fucking sidetrack because a live chat pops up in here now. GDNPB. I don't know what any of that means, but thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate you. So the property that I moved up to there, up in Humboldt, It's owned by my friend Ben Balderson. I think you guys know Ben, maybe, think so. He's been on a number of times. Yeah, he showed up on the vigil to fucking freak Misty out about flat Earth once. That was goddamn hilarious. Yes, Lindsay, I cut my hair. I cut my hair when I was in Colorado. I'm pretty sure my hair was cut when I saw you. No, it was the next day. It was the next day. Yeah. But yeah, I cut my hair when I was in Colorado. So Ben is more heavily involved in the truth community, in the conspiracy world than we are, at least like more in the cosmology end of it. He knows a bunch of show hosts that I don't know, including this Muppet Thomas Sheridan. We're gonna go into now. Not Tommy Sheridan, although he is foreign. Thomas Sheridan is a practitioner of a specific kind of magic. The way that Ben referred to it was spanky magic, because apparently this motherfucker would draw a sigil or something and then stroke it, and that's how the magic worked. It was a spank ritual. So this dude got himself in trouble because he apparently started making personal phone calls to some of his female audience members. Now, Sleepy Josh, do you have any idea where this is going?
I got a rough idea.
So,
there's string bean involved, or
look, I don't know because I haven't seen any pictures, but I do have his apology video. So, we're gonna pull that up and we're gonna listen to it. Now, I'm gonna theorize that because the guy speaks with like an Irish or English accent, he will be completely forgiven and rehabilitated in the truth community in America. That's my hypothesis. I don't know for sure, but that's what I would guess. So we're gonna take a listen to some of this, because why wouldn't we? Because it's get your shit together. Okay, that's fine. So here we go. This is the public Thomas Sheridan apology offered to those named.
I want to just have this once for all.
Did you share audio? It's super quiet.
It's his audio. I'm cranked.
And she asked me for an apology, certain local conditions, whatever. And I was still pissed off at the time. Bravado, etc., was kicking in, and I think, I just want to do what's right here. Okay, I don't want this to be the line under my life. This will be the.
Oh, so I gotta point something out here real quick, because it really, honestly, to me, at any rate, looks like Sleepy, that it is his right hand is holding the camera or the selfie stick, but his left arm doing a lot of wiggling. Now, this guy is making an apology video. Well, we're going to get into why, but mostly because he was flat the fuck out phone sexing his female audience. And I'm pretty sure he's stroking it during the apology video. And I gotta say, man, the whole all right, well, I suppose it's time for me to make an apology video. I had other plans today, but here we are. Like that kind of thing. I haven't watched this all the way through. I can only imagine it's going to get better.
The very last video I'll ever make for this channel. I just can't deal with social media. I can't deal with this kind of stuff ever again. It's destroyed my life. It's destroyed my work. And
is he standing in an open doorway of a moving like train car or something? Like, where the fuck is this guy?
No clue.
Fuck. Kind of like
I'm just as much culpable in this as anybody else, I have to say. Now, firstly, I want to apologize to Zita, first of all, okay? Now, I know I hurt you really bad when I blocked you before Christmas, but I was in a very bad emotional way.
I should set this up a little bit better, too. So what happened was, and again, this is secondhand, but I do trust Ben on this one. So he did this shit where he was like, spank magic phone sexing his female members of his audience. And then when he started getting called out on it, he gaslit the fuck out of them. It was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's the most horrible thing I've heard. Now, why would I do something like that? Like that kind of shit. Whoa, that's weird. This light just started freaking out. That's wild. That's wild. See how long it takes for it to do that again. Yeah, just gaslit the shit out of these ladies. No, you're crazy. I wouldn't do that.
I probably should have thought better, but I didn't. And
subtitles are awesome.
I apologize to that and to Tisha as well for doing that. Now, secondly, it was my intention to try and make amends after Christmas, but what happened was I was so down that a friend of mine took me to Sri Lanka for 2 weeks, and it was like it rebuilt me and made me normal again. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw the stuff you wrote about me, and I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand. Okay, I know you were hurt. I know you were in pain. I know I didn't behave properly, but I just couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand how you turned like that. It just didn't. Sorry, I'm trying to get some right here. It just didn't. It didn't make any sense to me. Okay, it was so extreme. I don't care about that now. I just don't care. I'm sorry for any distress I caused for you personally. Sorry for any distress I caused for your family. Now, as regards saying you refused me sex, I swear that was just a joke. It was like one of these things like, oh, maybe she wanted. To someone else, that was leaked out, okay? Obviously, there was never any sexual chemistry between us. We were just always friends. We didn't feel that way about each other. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for to your boyfriend, you. I didn't know you had you guys. I think after Christmas, I was in Sri Lanka. And I'm sorry for you. Honestly, I just didn't know.
Longest fucking apology I've ever seen.
And those the best thing I really do. I would have been in another situation. I would have been delighted if I had known about this, and I didn't. Who else? Sean Durham. Look, Sean. I know I saw the character. It was fair play, but again, that was in a private conversation. Okay? And
this thing goes on for almost 10 minutes.
Please don't make us sit through 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm not. Like, he goes through finances. He's like talking about other people's boyfriends and shit. This is fucking hysterical. Now, Sleepy, does he get rehabilitated because of the accent?
Probably. I mean, it's not like it wouldn't be the.
Hello, I would like to welcome you to Slow News Day. My name is Steve Poikinen, and this is how the show is going to go from here on out.
I couldn't even fucking really like follow what the fuck he was talking about. I don't know.
Well, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines now. Feel free to call into the show. That's 657-298-4767. Give us a ring and let us know if this accent would get me out of trouble.
You're killing me with the accent, man.
Is it really that bad?
I've heard worse, but I know I've lived like near too many Scottish and Irish people, so like people try to make fun of them. Like I don't know, it's especially bad for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I was trying to make fun of him necessarily. I was trying to get out of trouble.
I'm just talking shit.
I mean, that guy deserves to be made fun of. He thinks you can do magic, like real magic, by like drawing sigils in your sperm or some shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like magic. Like that's a dude who had like apparently like a sizable following for the spank magic that he was.
Well, he by magic got himself canceled.
Yeah, your whole career disappeared. He did say it was the last video he was making for that channel. Now, I don't know if he made a new one. I'm not sure. I'm not. 657-298-4767. Give us a ring. We're talking 9/11 tonight. We're talking whether or not you can like stroke your way to the fifth dimension. It's I just did tinfoil hat premium with Sam Tripoli that's here on the Rockfin. Okay. But go check that out. I got to talk to Sam all about the wonders of anarchy, and it was fantastic. Honestly, you guys, where we're at with the country, with the lockdowns, with that is a very irritating washing machine. I just want to make that perfectly clear. With Joe Biden saying 100 million people are going to have to get force inoculated if they want to be part of a workforce that people are abandoning in droves anyway. With all of that happening, I do think that collectively.
The phone thing crashed. Give me a minute.
Huh?
Phone thing crashed. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Oh wait, it's back now. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, who do we got? Where are you calling from? Thanks for calling. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Steve. Oh, I've got a bad echo.
Make sure if you're watching the stream, you need to mute that and just listen through the phone.
Okay, let me. Okay, so anyway, this is A Mares or Anna Mares. I was just calling in to say hey.
Oh, hey. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. I'm really fucked off because seeing that shit from Biden yesterday, like I literally about just flew through my ceiling. Like I just am all sorts of just pissed off right now. But to keep it kind of to the topic, like I'm not a veteran, but I had a very strange 9/11 kind of experience. I was in college and I went to Beloit College. So of course I still owe tens of thousands of dollars on my student loans. But They had
Beloit, you said?
I'm sorry?
Beloit, you said? Beloit?
Up there just Beloit, Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. No, I mean, I have family in Racine, so it triggered a little recollection.
Right on. Yeah, they built that college right over the Turtle Indian, which is black.
So what happened there in Beloit, Wisconsin with Anna Maris in college?
So basically, we had a janitor that morning. We were helping out for a friend's birthday that night before, so we got straight up lit up and hammered. And I was happy I didn't have classes until, like noon the next day. And one of the janitors came around to do the garbage and the whatever. Like I heard all this like yelling and banging, and I came out and she was kneeling on the floor of our living room in front of the TV, speaking in tongues. Apparently she was Pentecostal, which I don't care about your religion, but that freaks you the fuck out as I'm hungover, waking up at 8 a.m. to this shit. And it just scared the ever living shit out of me. And then I canceled classes next week, and we're all just sitting there like in like mummified chaos, like trauma zone, like not knowing what to do. But like fast forward a couple of years later, and I went on a study abroad to Estonia and Morocco, and it was an eye-opening thing I had ever done, because these were the most gracious, loving, like fabulous people. And then to take all that experience of all the hate from everybody had been around for so long, like for the last 3 years, and then go there and realize they're nothing like that, like changed my whole worldview. And from then on, like I really, really, really didn't want to come back. I really didn't, but I had to. So that just changed my world, and ever since then, I just have tried so hard to look at everything they say about Muslims or the Middle East or anybody that isn't like us. Every time they demonize somebody, you need to look at them and you need to realize they're just human,
I agree. I do. And this is something that to kind of bring it full circle to what I was rambling about before you called. The conversation that I was having with Sammy Triples there about anarchy was that most people don't want violence in general. Like in general, most people don't want that. Most people want to resolve conflict without resorting to violence. Normally, you can do that. Where war happens, it's because a state, the state, whatever, for whatever particular nation, has the monopoly on force and violence and uses that monopoly at the behest of a handful of little like goblin fucking bankers, to oversimplify it greatly. But in our day-to-day lives, very, very rarely, if ever, do we encounter a hostile force that is trying to use violence against us to get their way. I think that applies universally, mostly universally. That's not that there aren't like a handful of warlike cultures that we still have left here on the planet, but broadly, we're mostly at the point to where we know how water collection, irrigation, sanitation, growing food, and shit like that works. My light is possessed. This is kind of weird. It's also been rattling around in my truck for a while. But I'm saying all that to say this. I do know a number of people who have been abroad post 9/11, who have been to, like Egypt, North Africa, a number of other, the former East Bloc countries, and across the global South. And to a person, they're like, I didn't want to go back.
100%. 100%. Because when I was over there in Estonia and in Morocco, I was on a cross-cultural psych research trip, and the topic that I chose was studying the theory of what's beautiful is good, quote unquote. So proving that individualistic cities like Europe and America, some of Asia, you attribute so many good qualities and honesty and trustworthiness to people that you perceive or are told that are attractive. And that doesn't exist in more collectivistic societies. And we proved it. We had a very good R factor. And it's very, very true. So who are they going to march out to sell their propaganda? It's whoever they tell you is trustworthy, beautiful, honest. But if somebody has all the facts and they can demonize them and they can paint them as ugly or terrible, then you're not going to believe them, and they've instilled that bias in us.
No, I mean, you're right. How many times have we seen that exact thing play out? It's interesting, and I was talking to the Combo Couch a couple of hours ago. They were on their way to the dinner thing somewhere in the greater LA area. But we were talking about how wild it is, the amount of celebrities across the board that have been brought on to, enforce the influence campaign, the propaganda campaign on the jabby jab. Got to be a little bit careful on YouTube, but yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the Biden administration spent, billions on influencers. The Trump administration did the same thing. Gavi and the World Economic Forum have all had social media influencers and white papers about like, oh, let's spend 5 to 20 grand on hyper local influencers who have, immediate reach in their community, clout in their community. Let's go after them too. Can't forget them. But we can save a couple of bucks in the process too, because again, hyper local. So they don't cost as much. But the campaign to use the famous and the beautiful to push this thing should ordinarily, I would hope, if we weren't all suffering from some sort of mass hypnosis or delusion, make people go, hey, wait a minute, why do they need to push this thing this hard?
Exactly. Nail on the head. And that's why I love you so much. I love you, Jason, and Last American Vagabond, and Roar Media, and Combo Couch, and Franco. It just decides that fuck you. I don't care who's coming after me. I'm going to tell the truth, and we need more of you, because that's exactly what's happening. And I'm so sick of this celebritard culture, and I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm sorry, we're not speeches, all right? Like stars upon stars, come on. Like they're dividing us. Don't see it, then you are a sheep. And I'm sorry, but I just don't have time for you anymore. And it just sucks, because they're really trying to just clamp down and make it so you can't breathe, move, walk, talk, eat. Like it's just so terrible what it's doing, and I'm very, very frustrated.
Can I tell you something, Anna? I cracked up when you broke out the celebritard, because that is such a Burmesism. I've never heard anybody else say it, and it was in my head on the forever fucking drive to Sacramento here. I finally got to catch up on some stuff. I got to like listen to my friends do their show. I haven't been able to do that for a while. And when Burmis leans into that word, it's fucking hilarious. It really is. I appreciate that you broke that out. Exigent News says shit's getting real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're casually talking about and laying the groundwork for force inoculating people for a virus that 99% bare minimum of the entire population survives, significantly more than 99% if you break it down amongst age demographic groups.
Can I add something to that?
One more time, please.
Who haven't already lost their jobs, all these people who haven't already had to go in and go through this horrible unemployment experience, you just threatened the rest of them. You just threatened them all and said they are not good enough to work. If no matter how smart they are, no matter how much college debt they have, no matter what they do, if they decide it's not best for them to take this job, then they are going to be permanently poor. That is disgusting, and that is fascist.
Well, and it 100% tracks with COVID-19 and the Great Reset. It 100% tracks with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It 100% tracks with the words that all of the members of the predator class have been trotting out for the last several years, where, you know, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You're going to be a permanent renting class. Home ownership, well, that's just a quaint concept. You don't need that anymore, Anna. We have a brave new world. And in that brave new world, you just rent. You just rent, but it's okay, because if your social credit score is up to par, then we'll give you enough UBI through your USD issued cryptocurrency, because your entire life will be on the blockchain. This is why I live in the fucking woods, yo.
And how long is
that? I have a fucked up owl and am on a farm where, like, I talk to, like, you know, goats and chickens more than people. Whoa, what happened?
It fucked up. Hold on, I'm calling them back.
Okay.
I was trying to send someone a text in here to ask them if I wanted to call them back, and it fucking hung up. So
as far as I know, the truckie strike didn't happen.
Oh my god.
Steph, I'm not sure what collective you're talking about, but I'd love to see some action.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My phone died.
No, that was my fault. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it just cut out.
I was trying to respond to someone that was trying to get through, and I hit the wrong button. My bad.
Well, we do have a monopolization of cell phone companies, and whenever they decide you're talking too much truth, they can just cut you off.
I mean, yeah, theoretically, 100%. I mean, and in real life too. And if they don't cut your cell phone off and you rub too close to painfully real shit, they can Tracy Twyman you.
You know, I have a funny story about that, actually. If I know I only got like a minute and I want to get in, but So I had a tree fall on a line that I thought was a power line recently. And so I went out there and I called, Mid-American is our energy company around here. And I called and I said, I don't know what kind of line this is. Why don't you come out, and it might be dangerous. And then my internet was out too. So I called the internet company, CenturyLink, horrible, horrible company. I said, why don't you come out, check this out? I might be the internet line. So Mid-American, a public utility, was there within 1 hour. They had a tree service there within 1 hour, and they were ready to take down the tree and fix the line and everything good. And within 1 hour, I called CenturyLink and they said, oh man, it probably can't be around there for 6-7 days. I'm like, I work from home, you motherfucker. Like, I need internet. Mid-American comes and they say, oh, I'm so sorry. That's the phone and internet line. We can't touch it. Even though we have a tree service here, we're going to do everything for you. We can't touch it. CenturyLink shows up 5 days later. No tree service. They repair the line and say, oh, yeah, we're going to hook it back up between some mature trees hung tight between some backyard garages where it's going to get broken again. And it did 5 days later. Another tree fell. These motherfuckers, if we don't get municipal broadband, if they were municipal broadband, they would have been like Mid-American. They would have brought a tree service. They would have been there within the hour. They wouldn't have jeopardized your job if you have to work from home. A lot of disabled people work from home. What are we? It's too important to let it go. We have to do that in conjunction with everything else.
Well, there's got to be some mechanism by which we don't have to go through the state for our right to be able to speak on the internet. There's got like pirate radio was a thing, like ham radio still can be a thing. You got to put up your own tower, I guess. Like, they fucking took down towers left and right all over the country in the last 5 years. But there's got to be a way by which you can get around, and not just VPNs, but to connect. There's got to be a way you can get around that.
I mean, the problem with ham radio is even the packet stuff, it's illegal to encrypt over there. Like, they'll shut your shit down so goddamn fast the second you do it. So, yeah, it's an option, but, it's not fucking secure in any way. And if you make it secure, you go to prison. So.
Right. Carrier pigeons, motherfucks.
We got a lot of fucking smart people in this country with a hell of a lot of education, and they're all broke and they're all in debt. And if we gave them an opportunity to say, do your magic, be an entrepreneur, think outside the box, come up with an awesome solution. We have crazy intelligent people. We could figure this shit out. Maybe it's not municipal, maybe it's something else. We got to figure out something.
Sure.
I agree. Well, Anna, thank you so much for calling in. It's fantastic to hear your voice. I want you to call in at least once a week just to say Estonia.
I love you. I wish you the best show ever. I love you so much.
Aw, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend, and yeah, call back in.
All right, we're gonna call someone back real quick.
Sounds good.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, who are we calling back? And thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Name's Matt. Coming from real close to where you used to be. Good to hear you moved somewhere. Hopefully it's been a good move for you, man. Santa Cruz area is where I was from. Anyways, calling about Corona stuff. Just trying to get some information out there that people may not be aware of. So
Yeah, what do you got?
stuff. Huh?
Oh no, Debs was just saying go ahead, man, and thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, man. I do want to appreciate all that you do and all the work for Julian Assange case and everything like that. Love it. Love that you guys have that energy. Anyways, the problem I have is like I'm not a genius or anything. I'm a construction worker, but I had enough schooling to understand a little bit of biology. It's most of what I was doing. And they are not disclosing what's going on with genomic integration. If you go to the CDC website, you'll see that both the mRNA vaccines and the adenovirus vaccines, both of them say it's impossible for them to mess with your genes at all. And that's not true. The adenovirus are probably the worst. You have an integration event rate of about 6 in every 100,000 cells you get transduced. So every time one of those little adenoviruses pops the DNA for the spike proteins into your cell, 6 times out of every 100,000, you're going to have an integration event. So that means the spike protein goes into your DNA. It gets encoded there. It stays there for the rest of the life of that cell. It's one of the reasons why you have what's called apoptosis. So the cell will recognize that it's making this fucked up DNA, or it has it inside. It'll kill the cell. It's part of why you get the myocarditis. There's other reasons too, besides the spike just being cytotoxic itself. But when your body's pumping out shit that it's not supposed to, your cells kill themselves. So suicide basically cells.
Yeah.
So
is this what leads to thrombosis? Is this what leads to blood clots? Is this what leads to miscarriages? Like, I do know that what was happening in women's reproductive systems was basically along the lines of like an overload of the spike proteins, and then it changes the body's ability to produce those naturally. Matt, I gotta tell you, this thing feels to me like it is 100% about trying to destroy our body's ability to defend itself naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it actually uses your body against you. One of the other problems that you're going to see is that with the increased, the repeated dosages, you have more and more violent immune responses. I had a cellular reprogramming study that said 7 days, 7 doses, it killed all viable cells. Because again, that apoptosis happens inside your cell. You have things called pattern recognition receptors, and they will say and recognize, hey, we've seen this before. How the fuck did we get it inside us again? Well, kill it. Kill all the cells around it. That's that cytokine storm signaling cascade. So it uses your own immune system to wipe you out. It's part of, if you go on the VAERS database and you look up the elderly, the care homes, you'll see they say something like, oh, we were experiencing an outbreak and we went ahead with the vaccination program anyways. And basically what happens is someone who's been exposed to any virus gets the vaccination that slams your immune system, your immune response through the roof. You're going to kill people. It's well documented. They did it anyways, and that's that Cuomo shit that just knocking people off. It's wild. And yeah, I don't see this as anything less than a kind of a genocide. And maybe not enough people know about it, or maybe people are scared, they don't want to talk about it. But people know, absolutely. And I'm sure there's plenty of non-disclosure agreements that people don't want to violate, or, fuck, they see what happens to Julian Assange and they say, I'm not going to get in the way of that. I don't want to be that guy. So
I mean, I agree there, man. We've spent a little bit more than 2 years talking about the chilling effect that Julian Assange's incarceration has had. Even fucking Chomsky is cognizant enough to prevent that information. I mean, he turns around and is like, and we got to, of course, petition Joe Biden to appeal the fucking, I mean, the goddamn LARP that is. I saw a couple of great memes, but one was one kid cheating off of the other, and it said the kid looking over at the other kid's paper was Chomsky, and the kid was Michael Perini, and that was a little bit of beautiful. But then I also saw my favorite meme right now it's a picture of the Georgia Guidestones, and above it says over 1 billion vaccinations have been administered. Below it said, but the picture is completely unrelated.
Yeah, good. Yeah. It's weird when they kind of put it out there and they piss in your face, like Biden saying, "Yeah, we got to protect the vaccinated from the unvaccinated." You just fucking said it didn't work. What's the point? But I don't know.
I heard.
As far as go ahead.
Oh no! It's you're calling in. What do you got?
I was just going to try and finish off the genomic integration. So what you're going to probably see is so it starts in the arm, it travels through the body. The first thing it hits is the lymph nodes, and then most likely it's going to deposit a lot in the liver, ovaries, things like that. So you're going to see probably more cancer in those areas, and they're just going to blame it on whatever. But just that's what happens when you start changing up DNA at that level. So you get about 50 billion viruses out of the J&J vaccine. So you get somewhere, even at maybe about 10% deficiency, you're going to have, I want to say it's about 30,000 integration events. It's a lot of fucking changes where things can go bad.
Yeah.
And that's fraud. That's full fraud. They said it couldn't happen. I guarantee you got a tissue sample from somebody, you'd find it. And the mRNA vaccines, they said that doesn't happen either. That was a huge campaign that they did on that one. You can go on to Vincent Racaniello's This Week in Virology, episode 696, and go right to where he says mRNA inside your own body is routinely reverse transcribed, because you have inside your own cells endogenous reverse transcriptase. That's the thing that takes the mRNA, turns it into DNA, and then it goes into your nucleus. That's how HIV works, basically. But they say, we don't give it the reverse transcriptase, so it's not possible. Well, that's bullshit, because you have old viruses inside of you. They're called human endogenous retroviruses. You also have part of what's called line element reverse transcriptase. It's all fancy language for saying, we don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But for them, this whole program between the surveillance state and just fucking people up is worth it. So they've thrown it all in. And it's the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Some of the smartest, most aware people that I know keep defaulting to that. This is the craziest shit. This is insane. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, we, you know, in some cases, you know, and like Freeman Fly's been doing it for 35 years, 30 years. You know, there are people that have been talking about it before Behold the Pale Horse came out. Like, and yet we're all still kind of, because you never think it's going to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
And now we're all living in it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I told Fee and Pasta and Johnny a couple hours ago on the phone. Like, because it's this fucking crazy, now's when you need to figure out where you want your community, where, like, if you can make the best out of the situation where you are, cool. That means you're probably not in a major city. But I mean, if you've got the opportunity to grab land, or you know people with land, go get on that shit and get fucking, you know, set up. Because they're force inoculating people. It's only a matter of time before they start locking down borders and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're already floating that. I think Leanna Wan just came out today. Hey, it's fucking, it's not a constitutional right to be able to travel in between states. I can't believe they get away with saying that shit. And it's just the dumbest. Article 4. You can't stop people from crossing borders within the states. And they just don't. They're going full on. Hey, we retarded you through school. You're just going to listen. And because I'm an authority figure, boom, Bernays, we're done, right? We're done here. We got you guys all brainwashed. Great. It's wild, man. You hear some vile shit from people that want the vaccinated, the unvaccinated to be. It's nuts, man.
We make jokes a lot on this show, you know, and we talk about some wild shit, and we talk about some really hectic, serious, you know, incredibly brutal shit. But what we don't do is go, boy, I hope the people who disagree with me about this die.
Yeah, exactly. I've argued with plenty of people, but it's never out of malice. I've had some really vile shit said to me before, and it's just wild, man. I'm not really sure where that comes from. I guess I look at you go to like Gulag Archipelago and read Solzhenitsyn, and you can just see that depending on the circumstance, people can be evil. They can let that part of who they are out. And maybe that's a disconnect from soul. I don't know. But it seems to be a repeating cycle as long as we decide to watch Fred the Circus and forget about it.
I couldn't agree with you more, Matt. I want to thank you for calling in. This is it again. I can't stress enough that if you're resisting this, if you're being a refusenik,
yeah,
you know, it's time to move on your, how do I fortify my immediate surroundings, my family, my community, and if you have the opportunity to get out of a major city, I would think about it. I would 100%. I mean, Jesus, Santa Cruz was too much. Santa Cruz is insane.
Yeah, I moved away from there a little bit ago, but the whole fucking, when they closed down beaches and they were patrolling like a bunch of dickheads, I couldn't fucking believe it. You're going to stop people from getting sun. Vitamin D was one of the only things they proved in March of 2020 stopped you from getting sick. Cut your death rate down by 75 to 90%. And guess how many studies the United States federal government has funded? Nothing. You can go to clinicaltrials.gov right now, you use a refined search, and you say NIH or federal funding, and you will find $0 for vitamin D, $0 for zinc. What else? Budesonide doesn't have an appropriate study, even though they proved in UK at Oxford that it reduced hospital stays. Man, remdesivir got funded 18 fucking times. 18 fucking times remdesivir got funding, and it doesn't work. It never fucking worked. So there's obvious corruption there. I've been trying to work on figuring out a FOIA request for who's been writing those denials for those clinical trials, because there's obviously a bias there. But when I asked Center for Scientific Review, they sent me some bullshit back and said when they are denied, they are protected under the 1974 Privacy Act. And so when they deny trials for drugs, you can't know about it. It's not open information. So you could literally have Tony Fauci sit, have all funding approvals go through him. He could shut anything and everything down if he was that person. I don't know who that person is, but technically you could have one person saying no to everything that they chose to. And I don't know how to get around it. Once it's approved, you can research all the people involved, but until that point, they said it's protected information. So, I mean, it's right there. It's corruption right in the face.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No. I mean, you're 100% correct, Matt. That's ridiculous. And I was listening to I think it was Part of the Problem on the way down, and they were talking about like how in this case, in the case of Fauci, gain of function, Fort Detrick, Wuhan, in this case, like the Obama administration tried to shut down gain of function research. There was a waiver, and the signature on that waiver was Tony Fauci's. Tony Fauci is the highest paid government official through now, but has been part of this machine for 40 years. And in very few cases do we actually get to identify one of the people who does that, who is the signator for, you know, what gets to go forward, what gets to be researched, what gets to be funded. Now, I think that you might have an easier time, and then we should take the next caller. But I think you would have an easier time finding out whose job it is to approve or deny funding for studies. Maybe not necessarily through FOIA, but just through general research, or like, you know, ask some you know, inquisitive people who are decent with computers.
Yeah, I'll try it out, man. For sure.
I mean, because that is something that people should know. People have a right to know. The NIH is supposed to be a public office. Supposed to be.
Yeah, they're supposed to be public. And then you know who his wife is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the head of bioethics over there.
Yes.
What the fuck, man? Clown world.
Yes,
so,
it is.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that out. I couldn't find it when I was going through it, but I'll go for it again now.
No, it's insane that that's protected, and that they're trying to say that we don't have a right to find out what got rejected. Weird.
Yep. Yeah, you can have miracle drugs out there that they would know is good, and they just say that's going to fuck with my cancer drug or my royalties that I get through the NIH. Like, what? How's that a thing? It's interesting when you actually start getting involved and you realize how chained everything is together. But
No,
anyway, you go. Hey, you love what you guys do. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you calling in. Have a very happy rest of your Friday and the rest of your weekend, and fucking keep your head up, man. This is take care, brother. Take care.
We gotta call him back, or he's calling in now. You there, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Kevin from St. Louis.
Kevin from St. Louis, what's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hanging in there. Glad to be in Sacramento on the eve of 9/11 and the End the Damn Wars protest. I'm excited to see my friend Adam Kokesh tomorrow. He's the headline speaker for this thing. Still toying with the idea. I was offered a booth, toying with the idea of setting up and broadcasting from a booth. Might be cool.
That's good.
What do you got going on, Kevin? How is St. Louis right now? How are they with the whole lockdown thing? I have a friend who's a grad student at a university there, and I know that the school is very, very. What's the word? Fascist? I think that's the word.
Well, yeah, that's I don't know how to put it, because it's like, I don't work. I haven't worked in like 10 years, because I'm fucking rich. But
Word. That's awesome. Congratulations. Let me know if you want to sponsor.
It's I have to be careful when the guillotines come out. But other than that, yeah, it's really great. No, I'm not rich. I just don't work. But
either way,
if you're involved in schools, like I was in graduate school, 10 years ago, and I dropped out. But that was in California, and when I dropped out of grad school in California, they were doing things like closing the libraries couple of days a week, and there were cutbacks in the schools. I mean, I don't know if you remember this from 10 years ago. Were you in California 10 years ago?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Well, I
remember they cut a swath through it. This is right when Napolitano took over, right, as president of the UC system. Wasn't that the same year?
That sounds right.
I still think it's crazy as fuck that the former head of the Department of Homeland Security was the president of the UC fucking system. That's weird.
Well, I was in like the most frou-frou kind of namby-pamby soft science you can imagine. I was in a master's of English literature in Sonoma State. There was a lot of like wine parties, and kind of, it was like 3 guys in the program and like 30 girls, and we would just kind of sit around talking about feminism and shit like that, which was fun. But it was weird to be doing that juxtaposed next to watching the teachers get furloughed, and teachers assistants were teaching whole semesters for $20 a semester. that kind of shit. So, and they were raising tuition rates every year, obviously.
Yeah, and adjunct professors were sleeping in their fucking cars, and yeah, no, I remember. Ron Placone was an adjunct professor during that time. I don't know, and like straight up, he would talk. He's talked about it. Ron would teach classes, and then go do like 8 5-minute gigs a week and make more money doing stand-up than he was as an adjunct professor.
Well, that was the thing, when I would tell people what I was studying, I mean, even within the program, we would kind of joke about it that like, should we do this or should we go work at McDonald's and really make some real money? But if you told someone outside the program, they'd be like, why, like, why would you study that? Oh, don't do that. People, I was kind of, bemused by the anger that it would rile up in people that you were studying something like that. And, I mean, I think just to sort of defend the behavior, like, why would you study English literature? A lot of people say, like, well, you already speak English. You don't need to keep studying English literature. Yeah, just to defend it as a viable lifestyle. I mean, two people that I read a lot now are C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, because I'm a nerd. But, like, they're both World War I veterans, and they were, like, in some serious, trench fighting in World War I. And I really think the Narnia books and I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd, but the Lord of the Rings books and the Narnia books are like, you read them both kind of as companions to one another. They're and read them against what it would be like to fight in World War I, which is a pointless war, which was really just designed to test Gatling guns to see how many people they could kill in big fields. And imagine surviving these wars and having all your friends killed, and that's what I think is a really beautiful thing, that they both produce these kind of magnificent works of art that have stood the test of time, and they're about questioning the philosophical kind of point of war and the experience of war, but they're written for children, basically. So I think that's the magic trick in those books, is that children can read them. Children can be almost indoctrinated or inculcated into a way of thinking about war without knowing it. And they're really referring to the kind of destruction that they witnessed, the industrial destruction of classes of people, genocide. But like I say, you can do it in like a way that's kind of PG. And anyway, I just those are things that I use now, because one thing I'll say about the right wingers is that they've begun, in the past couple of months, they don't call it a pandemic anymore. They just call it a war. And that's what I do now too. It's like whenever I hear someone say pandemic, I go, okay, you mean war? Because it's a war against us. When I was just say, it's these are or and call it a pandemic. Like, pandemic already had a perfectly good definition. I'm a little bit of a word stickler, so pandemic already had a good definition before this. And it's like, a cup of milk is not a tree, and it's kind of disrespectful to a tree. It's like pandemic is this is not a pandemic, this is a war.
Well, they changed the definition, and they changed it specifically for this. We looked it up last night. We did.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought up Tolkien. I'm glad you brought up Lord of the Rings. I'm glad you brought up right wingers, because my favorite Lord of the Rings quote involves right wingers. I would like to read it for you guys real quick. It is, there are two novels that can change a bookish 14-year-old's life: The Lord of the Rings and Atlas Shrugged. One is a childish fantasy that often engenders a lifelong obsession with its unbelievable heroes, leading to an emotionally stunted, socially crippled adulthood unable to deal with the real world. The other, of course, involves orcs. About C.S. Lewis, and I did know, I knew that both went to World War I. I knew that trench warfare, particularly affected Tolkien. There are a lot of the scenes in Lord of the Rings that are directly affected by that. And look, by the way, you should read Atlas Shrugged. You should read Ayn Rand. You should read the Fountainhead before you read Atlas Shrugged. And because arguing with objectivists is fucking fun as fuck. So you should do that. And we can get into why Ayn Rand is right about a lot of shit some other time. But C.S. Lewis is someone that I think everyone needs to be reading right now. And there are a couple of things. Big shout out to Kendra for like making sure that everyone reads it. But The Abolition of Man, in particular, is something that people need to be aware of right now. That particular short story. We have given up largely like the pursuit of, I don't know, independence and liberty, and replaced that with the sureties of the state, all of which are carrot and stick, where it's mostly stick, and everybody forgets that with the carrot, the fucking mule never gets the carrot. They only get the stick. It's the same carrot every time. They just keep dangling it in front of you. Starting to ramble. The dabs are working.
No, you're good. You're good.
Well, I don't know. I mean, jump in though, man. Let me know what you think about that.
Well, certainly, it sounds like kind of to mix your metaphor. It's like the goalpost moving syndrome, where it's weird. When you talk about colleges, in St. Louis, or colleges wherever. I guess I had the choice when I moved back to St. Louis whether I wanted to transfer some credits and try to, get some more letters after my name here in St. Louis. And I decided not to, and I don't know if I was prescient or just lazy, but I kind of had this fear that what I saw happening in California, it was just a matter of time before they started closing libraries, in other places. And if you close a library, and I never would have anticipated that they would do this like Zoom thing, like try to teach college classes on Zoom, which is, just so. But see, the thing is, when they, when they're destroying basically this learning bank pedagogy model, they're basically saying like the Prussian education system is worthless. We're going to throw it away. We're going to do something else. And okay, I suspected for a long time when I was in school that like, when am I going to learn how to play guitar? When am I going to learn how to do the stuff I want to do? And I suspected it was worthless. And it's almost like, I think all the people that are like in their 40s now, Generation X, it's like, okay, we're looking at another generation that's going to have to go through hell to, basically they're starting at year zero with this education model. And so we can look at our education and say like, we wasted a lot of time. We took our ass to school, like, uphill both ways in the snow, basically, like, why did we do that? And why did anyone do that? It's just, in other kind of democracies, and, I think they already had jettisoned the model a long time ago, and they were getting much better results as far as people retaining information. And, you look at America now, it's probably the stupidest, I think overall, we're probably the stupidest country that's ever existed.
We're the stupidest we've ever been. That's for sure.
But I think,
if you go and look at what
look at the suicidality. I'm not denigrating people that have committed suicide. I mean, I think it's like tragic, and I honor their memory. But I'm saying, like, a lot of people that are committing suicide now, and all these different ways that they're presenting us to commit suicide, it's like, well, this is like lemming behavior. You know, I mean, like, how can they get people to do this? You know, I mean, like I've seen pictures of people lining up to get the punch, and then there's people on stretchers coming out the other way right in front of them. I mean, how can you get people to be that stupid? You know?
I admit mass delusion, mass hypnosis. We have been conditioning, like, for 30 years at least, the trust the science, believe the science, science is good, science is great, we surrender our will. It's been a part of basically every aspect of Western liberal culture for a solid 30 years. The first Earth Day under Bill Clinton, really, I think, 93, that sort of heralded the think globally, act locally, and we can recycle our way out of this, and critical mass, and the planet is being poisoned by you, filthy human, you. And so you need to do your part. So we're going to give you a whole new set of fees for us taking away your trash, because we're going to throw some of it on a different shipping container that's going to go to the Philippines and eventually become part of somebody's house. But we're going to call it recycling. We're going to call it that. And it's going to be a fantastic scam for a long, 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 long time. So for decades now, we've had it just beaten into the culture that science guy, right guy, Bill Nye science guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, basically Jesus, but can do a Rubik's Cube faster. Like, and at no point do any of these people really ever talk about the scientific method, or really let you know that peer review is a bunch of people jerking themselves off on their own confirmation bias, and that discoveries in science, advancements in science, almost always come from the fringes of it, the outside of it, because in the establishment where all of the peer review is going on, that's where it goes to get dissected and have an ecosystem and grants, come in through a pipeline to further enrich the academic class there. I don't know. I mean, does that track for you? Because I really do. Yeah. I was 14 in 1992. So all of this was coming at me at the high school level as like part of, all of a sudden we had environmental science as a class you could take.
Yeah.
That was new.
I think if you can, anybody that wants to debate science, and I took a couple college science classes. I was never good at it, but I could read a scientific paper probably and maybe determine whether it's complete bullshit or not. But I ask people, do you know the difference between inductive logic and deductive logic? Because if you don't, then it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes. If a modern homicide detective was reading a Sherlock Holmes story and you get to the part where the suspects are all gathered in the room and Sherlock Holmes goes through the the possible suspects and goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you did it, and here's why. The homicide detective would probably go, well, I don't know if that's going to be good for the prosecutor to use in court, because it's all deductive logic. You know, he narrows it down based on there are 5 people in the room and one of them had to do it. Okay, so that's not the scientific method as we know it now. Now, I mean, back when he was writing it, maybe that, you know, I mean, it sounds scientific, I'm sure, for a Victorian reader. It's not scientific now. So when you say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, do you want the Pfizer? Do you want the AstraZeneca? You go, well, what about, you know, ivermectin? No, it's not on the list. You know, it's like, okay, well, it's scientific to say everything is on the list, you know, including nothing, including just waiting. You know, that's also, you know, part of the scientific method. You want as many,
right.
You know, inductive logic means it's everything that's in the bag and also everything that's outside of the bag. So, you know, that's why when a scientific paradigm gets overturned, it's from, like you say, it's completely from the margins or left field. And it often is accompanied by persecution, you know, like Ignaz Semmelweis, who, you know, developed germ theory. You know, he said, I don't know if we should be taking doctors who had just done an autopsy and handled a cadaver, and then they go right into an obstetrics room and handle a newborn baby without washing their hands. You know, he says, I don't think we should be doing that anymore because all these babies are dying, all the mothers are dying. And right. He died in an insane asylum because the doctors said, how dare you accuse us of having something to do with these people dying? You know, so and that's just one example of, you know, in allopathic medicine, how people, I mean, right now, there's no difference between these doctors handing out these punches and doctors handling dead bodies and then going to deliver a baby and then saying, excuse me, I'm wearing a white coat. I'm a scientist. You know, I'm Dr. Fauci. Who are you? You know, I took lots of science classes. You know, like, I'm not using deductive logic. This is totally the scientific method. What are you talking about? You know,
you criticize me. You're criticizing science. I am Dr. Fauci science. Dr. Science Fauci.
I am science. I am science.
I am science. I mean, and I look.
Can I just one thing about the like a conspiracy theory?
He was trying to be tongue in cheek, but holy.
Trying to talk, Steve.
I'm sorry.
Okay, hear either one of you.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that Newsom, Pelosi, Fauci, and Cuomo are all Italian, and I really feel like it's a redo of 100 years ago when all the Italian gangsters were like the people that are actually in control are like, let's put all these Italians out here on the front line. So if the shit goes down and there's a big tribunal, we'll just say it was the Italians. And, you know, because they're all fucking Catholics. Joe Biden's a Catholic, which is like the last time we had a Catholic president was JFK. So I'm not going to say anything more about that. But, but you have all these Catholics and it's like, you know, I don't want to get into this conspiracy theory about Jesuits and shit like that, but I just think it's interesting that, Fauci being this like devout Roman Catholic and being like, you know, you look at the record he did, his CV with what he did with the AIDS virus and how they would essentially racially profile gay people. So for like a Roman Catholic, and I'll just go ahead and say this, I don't give a fuck, but I think Fauci is obviously a closeted gay man too, and I'm just going to put that out there. But yeah. So anyway, that's what I got.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I got a bunch of thoughts, and we're probably going to riff on it, but we do owe a couple of people some calls back. So I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate the information. And yeah, I just again, like, keep your head up. It is a weird old world out here, and I'm glad you got. I'm glad you got your facts on board. You know what you're talking about. And forewarned is forearmed. And yeah, take care, man. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thanks for calling in.
All right, man. Happy 9/11. All right, later.
My God, man. 9/11 is, well, I guess it's already September 11th on the East Coast. I'm gonna have to break out the memes here soon, huh, Josh?
We call Steven Lucky back.
Let's call Steve and Lucky back. I just had that idea. Shout out to Jason Gay. Thank you very much for the super Ray, and I would love to come see you.
Hello.
Hey, man, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Steve Cutler is on the line. Steve is the gentleman responsible for some of our most prolific graphics. He's also got a music channel that you guys should go hang out and vibe out to. And Lucky Burrito makes really cool stuff. And you should go look at that because they help activists too. What you got going on, Steve? How are you? Hey, Lucky.
How are you guys?
Oh, you know, getting ready for this thing tomorrow. Hey, are you going to be able to make it to an In the Damn Wars event?
We're going to have our own. We made a bunch of posters.
Yeah, we made like 15 like yard sale like style like ones, and we are going to go because it's going to be nice out. So we are going to go and do our own thing and talk to people, but we're going to hang them up really high on utility poles. And I think they might piss some people off because I was like, war is murder. And like, I said a bunch of shit on my signs that might piss people off. But I hope I hit a nerve one way or the other, because any nerve that I hit is some sort of awareness that hopefully they won't just like wash away, Hopefully it will remind people like this shit's fucked up. Like 22 vets a day killed themselves. Like I put shit on there that like should pull at people's heartstrings, and might piss off a couple parents if they see that kid says what war is murder. Yeah, I hope that parents get questions.
Speaking of war and murder, I heard the outdoor crop price in Cali is like fucking tanked, like hardcore. From like a G for a pound to like $400 or something. Like the bottom fell out.
Oh, you can get you can get absolute garbage for $400 or $500 a pound if you're buying 50. Yeah, and if theoretically, that's a conversation that could happen in this state, but yeah, and a grand a pound for sure. You know what, man? I was talking good indoor for like 12. A grand if you on like 10.
Dude, that hasn't caught up here at all. It's still, $200 a fucking ounce for retail.
Whoa, Steve.
So we're coming to the woods. We're coming to your woods. We're just gonna can we just squat in like the back little bit of the land with just like our own little earth ship? Can we just go squat back there?
Oh man.
I need to get out.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
The whole idea of bugging out to the woods is so that, there can be places that are ready when a whole bunch of people go, oh my God, I gotta bounce. I can't do this. I can't.
Can we just make land sovereign? Like, how can we do that? Like, if we want to build a freaking
sovereign and
make a community and be like, no, we're taking this land and that's it. Like, what do we have to do?
Native Americans tried that and I don't know, that didn't pan out.
So I mean, look, think that there is a case to be made for pooling resources and then trying to continuously pool those resources and get adjacent parcels and shit like that. But you've got to be able to generate some sort of capital and continue to do that if you want to be able to expand. I mean, if it goes like abso-fucking-lutely bugfuck and it becomes necessary to be like, yeah, no, I just kind of need to post up here, like, I mean, shit like that can work out, like can get worked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I love the idea of there being, a collection of places like that, maybe in Mexico and Canada and across the US, and, places where people can do a seasonal travel thing and grow and sell their fucking wares and whatever the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? We could have a pretty good intentional community, it would seem. Anyway.
Yeah, everyone needs their own space though. Like, not like, on top of each other, but like have a community area.
Are you trying to say that on occasion you do not work and play well with others, Lucky?
Oh my God, it's in like my medical like documents and shit that I don't take authority very well. It's also, yeah, it's like in my school and my medical records.
I mean, the neat thing about, consensus is that it's less authority and more determining who's best suited in the moment to handle the current problem or task.
Yeah, it's just like communication. Like, that's what it boils down to. Just, properly communicating with each other and like, knowing that everything is for all of us to have the greater good. Like it's to us as a whole. It's a community. The stronger we are.
Before we hang up.
But
the fact that all over Twitter there are people with the fucking anarchist or something, anarchy in their fucking titles and stuff, and they're all like, go take the vaccine, you bitch. And you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, mandates are cool. I don't get it. What is up with that?
So it's an abomination. It's probably, I guarantee you that Hegel is in his grave, like, yes!
I knew you were the right person.
I did it! And like Marx is fucking going like, suck it, Bakunin! And like, they're winning. In terms of, I don't think it can last. I don't. So I do. I want to get into this a little bit. Because
Huh?
What was that?
Oh, I don't know. I was just saying what?
I thought you said something. At any rate, I want to get into this a little bit because it's absolutely insane that over the last 10 years, the left anarchists went from rah-rah Emma Goldman, who came back from the Soviet Union and said, oh my God, I've seen communism. You got to run the fuck away from it. Like, what they're doing, that's not what we're advocating. That's not what we're about. Emma Goldman, like the most red Emma, fucking gave a whole talk.
Name for a band.
Pardon?
Red Emma, excellent band name. Making a note.
Hell yeah. I used to know a band from Siberia called the Red Elvises. They were kick-ass. They were the Red Elvises. Kick-ass rock and roll from Siberia. But anyway, but my point is, like, Emma Goldman went and saw what authoritarian, you know, aspirational communism looked like, and she was horrified. And like had a fucking tried to have, and this is funny, a come to Jesus moment with the anarcho-syndicalists and laid out where the pitfalls were with when you tried to blend anarchic concepts with authoritarian governments. And the same people, Stephen Lucky, who have like Emma Goldman in their Twitter bio, or maybe it's the name of the video game character they use when they play Red Dead Redemption or something like that.
That's incredibly ironic. I love that.
That's it. You know, if you're doing that, is it just for fucking show? Like, is it because you think it like sounded cool? Because I'm not a fucking bottle throwing fucking like let's burn it all down anarchist. That's not. I don't think that we need that. I don't. I think we can be smarter than that.
Okay, I have two answers. I have two answers for you. So the first one is, I think that the kids or the people that do that were like kids that like really wanted to fit in, and they really did not fit in, and they were rejected by their peers, so they collectively just take on whatever they think is cool. And the second thing is, like, you know, psychologically, like their brains are just they're just broken. You know, like their brains just they no longer get it. They no longer have a separation between the reality and what they're saying. Like the definitions of things have like altered, they've changed. Like they don't mean the same things anymore.
Well, that is also, I mean, the destruction of language, that's deliberate. And that's that's straight out of Hegel and Engels and Kant. Like the foundations of Western leftism really are rooted in these concepts of just the exact opposite of reality. And this idea that, like, shh, don't tell anybody, but as long as we exterminate the right people, we can achieve this thing. And so now, like, both predominant death cults are steering the left. And there's a death cult that says you have to cede autonomy to the state and become part of this experiment, and this is only going to your life on the blockchain, social credit score, antibody dependent. You've got boosters you've got to take for everything now because your body has no ability to fight off any illness on its own. And it's not just coronavirus that you have boosters for, it's everything. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Like, And so there's a string of, hey, let me finish my point, and then I'll let you, and then you please jump in. But let me conclude here real quick. So we've got that strain of leftist, and then to its side, we've got the strain of leftist that thinks they're communist or thinks they're anarchist, and what they're doing is looking to the state to make sure that they can take part in an experiment, and they are super stoked to have their life on the blockchain and their UBI and their social credit score. And the entire left, except for a handful of pockets of people who basically anarchist, but have moved into something that does not look like traditional leftist anarchism, because that has been entirely fucking put in a basket and carried up into some Maoist fucking weird shit. Like, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I think it's like the dragon eating its tail. You know, it just goes on forever in this loop, infinite. You know, fucking strong leading the cuckold, and just in circles we go forever.
Well, I mean, it boils down to me, like, you know, everyone that's in, like, you know, Congress and Senate and everybody that swore an oath, they forgot it real quick. I mean, we have to remember that no matter what side they're on, and you know, in the House, they all swore the same oath, and people don't think that that's important anymore. Yeah, the cops swear the oath, you know, and like most of them could not tell you any of your rights besides, you know, the Miranda. And like the definitions of everything have changed so much and become like watered down. What the word actually means isn't what, you know, how they're using it. And they've done that so successfully for so long. It's going. It's just constant. It's like cancer. It's you know, and it's mind like numbing to, like, you know, look at these people and go, oh my God, like they've really done a really good job at this. And like, you know, my daughter Sky, she's 17, and she is, you know, working on her PhD in psychology. She's going to graduate high school with a 2-year degree, and she is taking like all these classes, and she comes back to me and is like, yeah, Mom, this is why people do this way and that way. And like, cause I ask her all these questions, and it's so intense, and it's so crazy. Cause she told me like what they taught her just recently was, the things that she's learning can be very dangerous, and they can be very dangerous depending on who learns them and how they're used.
That's how they want to treat all information.
Yep.
Very dangerous.
It is.
Look at this guy on TV right here. He's freaking dangerous as hell. He's articulate. He can articulate complex, nuanced fucking thoughts to people across vast distances.
Thoughts outside of the box. Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
Hey, man. Have an awesome Friday night, Saturday night, 9/11, kick-ass 9/11 parties all over the continent. We love you.
If anybody is watching from Sacramento or something, let me know, and like go grab some late dinner or something. Fuck it, I'm bored. But yeah, dude, and you guys, I love the shit out of some Steve Cutler and Lucky Burrito. Do go check out Steve's YouTube channel, man. He's strumming them happy tunes.
Yeah, it's a good like reset and like recharge your batteries and taking a break for yourself, and you know, like giving yourself some self-love. And Steve loves giving out that good energy and while he plays music.
Well, we love you. Be well, all of y'all.
Love you, Sleepy Josh back there too. Where is the button?
Love you guys.
Turn this off? Love
Take
you.
care, y'all. Much love. So we are going to be at the Capitol in Sacramento. It starts at 11 for the End the Damn Wars rally. It's going to be a hopefully event. Huh?
We got Jerry on the.
Okay, Jerry, what's happening, my friend? How you doing?
Not too bad. I'm very encouraged to see the quality of your callers from the intellectual side increase across the weeks. Very encouraging. I forgot to ask the usual question. Is this the Get Your Shit Together show that everybody's talking about?
Yeah, yes, sir. It is, in fact, Get Your Shit Together, the interweb's premier call-in show, brought to you by Matrix Bars.
Okay. Well, man, I just got done on seeing you were previously involved with the carpentry business. Just got done helping a friend do a new roof, and so feeling kind of good about that, helping another person out. That's kind of a rare occurrence these days, these precarious days. Well, I guess I would ask the question of you and your listeners. What are we going to do about this big thing that's going on planet Earth? That's kind of, to say the least, worrisome.
Well, I think what we've been, trying to impart for the last almost 3 years of doing this show was the government is not coming to save you. People that work inside the government are not coming to save you. You need to be your own hero. We all need to be the media, but I mean, as long as we're able to do so, we should probably grow food and make bullets, just to be safe. I'm glad you were able to help your friend out. That's awesome. And roofing sucks. I mean, there's just no way around it. That's not a fun day or 3 or week or 2. But Jerry, I
would probably remember the scene out of the excellent movie Shawshank Redemption, where the prisoners were doing the roofing on the top of the prison, and had a couple beers afterwards. That was kind of a insightful thing.
Man, look, as long as you remember to have the beers after and not during, it's usually a much safer experience on the roof. Although I do know people that, like Renaissance Festival carpentry, there's a 6-pack in your tool bags, and that's just kind of like how that shit goes. And when I was working with my brother and a number of other people for finish and window company, we're doing all these like high-end homes in Woodside. Holy fuck, was that crew drunk. Jerry, we had 2 people whose nicknames were Absolute. We had Absolute Marty and we had Absolute Rick. And woo! were those guys loaded?
It's an interesting phenomena, being in the construction trades. Going back to the big thing that's happening on planet Earth right now, perhaps we should find some amount of encouragement that there are very smart men and women across the planet who are taking actions which are rightful and moral and doing the right thing. So that's one very good reason to be optimistic that this thing that's going on planet Earth will not sustain, it will not complete, etc.
Agreed. And I would like to thank Vanessa Beeley for being one of those people. Vanessa is incredibly kind and always includes this show when she's shouting out other independent media outlets that have not been asleep at the wheel during this massive fucking psyop. And wow, Jerry, I mean, it's 20 years removed from 9/11, and everything that the state wanted at the onset of 9/11, they've got and are getting in all of these lockdowns, mandates, forced making people choose. Am I going to submit my will and become part of this experiment where I don't really have informed consent, but anecdotally, I can see that people are not responding well to this, that it doesn't stop you from getting it again, that it doesn't stop you from, it just mitigates some symptoms, it doesn't stop you from spreading it, it doesn't stop you from getting each and every new variant, and every time you get a booster, it's going to be for the thing you already had, not the thing that you're going to get. And there's no way to predict that, even though apparently they've got a call sheet for these fucking variants. Even though it doesn't work, you've got to submit your will to it. They've got to rearrange society over it. Or you can listen to the people who have been laying the groundwork for things like parallel societies. I am not shitting you. I just got an email from Gab. There's a Gab post about parallel societies now. I mean, this is actually pretty encouraging, even though Gab is what it is. Waging economic warfare in terms of constructing parallel societies and utilizing counter economics, that, Jerry, I believe is the way forward and the way out of this.
Well, perhaps there's more encouraging news out there, and that's the fact that more and more people around planet Earth are coming to understand that there's something really, really wrong occurring on the planet right now, and it's getting into their bones. It's becoming a visceral feeling that previously they may have denied, but at this point, with the bizarre, unprecedented events that are occurring, they would, in the past, they would have blown it off as, and not given it a second thought. Now, there's one thing that I've said many times online in commentaries, and that is something that people should pay heed to, in my mind, and that is the fact that in all the history of global health crises, CRISES, there has never been such a brutal and ruthless censorship and suppression of the voices of men and women, doctors, highly respected, we must emphasize, highly respected in their fields, doctors and experts and others involved in the medical field and legal experts. There's never been such a brutal and ruthless suppression and censorship of the voices of these. What if you understand what these people are like, their personalities, their personal traits? There are beautiful people when you boil it all down. They are beautiful people, and they are being censored and suppressed.
I agree with that. I think that we were talking about this earlier on the show when Anna brought it up. The fight for a free and open internet is one of those things that has basically fallen by the wayside over the last 5 years. When voice is going. When Trump got into office and basically gave control of the FCC to the worst elements of the people that Barack Obama had appointed, and they put an end to net neutrality, people just sort of moved on. Like, there was a big Section 230 took up some air for a month or so last year, but even that kind of fallen by the wayside. We have in the hacktivist community, in the cyber activism community, not been doing the job of making people understand exactly how important a free and open internet is. And there's an entire generation, Zoomers, who just don't know what a fucking free internet was like. Have no clue, no memory of it. Younger millennials, same fucking thing. Boomers, no goddamn clue. They were the ones telling us not to go on it. You know, there's a handful of people in Gen X and older millennials who know what a free and open internet was like and need to step up and scream about it, because if we're going to have one, it has to be ours. Otherwise,
very true. Now, in the past, whenever there was a global crisis, whether it be in health or violence as epitomized by war, any serious, very serious negative event that happened on the planet, you would have people who are experts and smart on different subjects. Those people would be, men and women would be welcomed with open arms to come into the conversation and share their ideas, so that there would be a good possibility of resolving whatever crises was occurring in those different categories in the best possible way. But now what's happening in the current crisis is that those men and women experts all around the world, whereas before they would be welcomed with open arms to share their opinions and views, are being, as I said earlier, ruthlessly and brutally stomped down. You know, I suppose you could use the old saying, the boot on your neck forever, as I think was made famous by Orwell.
Yep, you are absolutely right. Well, Jerry, we have been on the air for about 2 hours now. and we're going to wrap it up for the night. So I want to thank you very much for calling.
Before you do that, let me take the opportunity to thank you once again, Steve and Glory, who's apparently not available tonight, and your effort to communicate in a new and different way to for the sole purpose of trying to expose the truth, no matter how brutal and ruthless that truth may be. So very best of luck to you and all your listeners and all your supporters. And thanks again, man.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Well, y'all, that's gonna do it. And big shouts to Glory. Glory had a thing that she thought was tomorrow, but it was tonight, so she had to do the thing. But she will be at the End the Damn Wars event in Los Angeles that starts at noon. I think it's at the Capitol. InTheDamnWars.org. That's where you can go to find out about it, find out where the event is around you. If you're anywhere near Sacramento, California, come out to the Capitol at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. We are going to be out and we are going to be making noise. I hope to see you. I want to hang out. I want to, see what we can get accomplished out of this. Also, the following Saturday, next Saturday, the 18th, I'm going to be throwing an anti-mandate event in Eureka at the Capitol building there, the city building there. More on that as I get graphic. And oh, by the way, I need help with a graphic for that. September 15th, if you're anywhere near Sebastopol, California, Derek Bros is going to be doing his Conscious Resistance tour. If you can make it for that, you should. That's I would imagine going to be awesome. October 12th, San Jose, Peckham Federal Building. We are going to gather for Commander X. It will be his most recent court date. So again, anywhere near San Jose, California, please come out and stand with us for Commander X. And would like to give a big shout to Matrix Bars for sponsoring the show. Matrix Bars, 3.5 grams mushroom chocolate in a delicious, I mean, like, dangerously good candy bar. They have, I hate strawberries and cream. I do. It's not a flavor combination I enjoy. I'll be damned if it's not good. It's good. That's weird. I told the guys to, like, whoever does the recipes to give them a big old wet kiss, because damn, dude, solid. Hell yeah. Cookies and cream or Oreo and cream, something like that, and then chocolate, and they're fucking delicious. So Matrix Genetics on Instagram and Twitter, MatrixGenetix. Hit them up. Go down the rabbit hole. Sleepy Josh, what do you got?
I ain't got shit.
All right, man. I
can't wait to escape fucking Clown World, dude. That's it.
Yeah. Here for you, buddy. Here for you. Gonna make that fucking work out. Let's see. Come out tomorrow. We're gonna figure out how to live stream and shit like that. I know the Convo Couch wants to have a check-in. So we'll get all of that sorted. Sunday, Awkward, the hip-hop artist, will be on the program. The following Sunday, we've got Dr. Pierce Robinson Did I book anybody for? Oh yeah, that's right. Thursday, Rich Airy will be on the program. Rich is a marathon runner and a fitness coach and a writer, author, and hit me up because he was like, "Hey, wanted to call in, but I couldn't make. I ran the Boston Marathon on acid." It was like, "Oh, we should talk. We should." Um, I fucking love you guys, man. Big shout out again to everybody who was calling in. Shout out to Jason Gay, Bill and Bubblegum Douche for the super raise. You guys fucking rock. And yeah, Jason, I mean, dude, you got my number. Call me if you have any questions on setup or anything like that. You need to pick a brain. Keep watching, keep hanging out if you can. Support the show. There's a number of different ways to do that. We do have a GoFundMe. That's the primary way until we have enough like Rockfin subscriptions to carry it. So you can do that as well. It's $9.99 a month. You get all the paywalled content on the network. I get good internet in 11 days. So Slow News Day is going to have an abbreviated schedule for about 2 more weeks. And I really apologize for that. But with the shit internet, it just doesn't, there's no way to do it. And then after that, I can be back to like ABB and I can be back to doing Into the Microcosm, all the shit that I haven't been able to do. And I've just been like kind of suffering for it. But really, yeah. But can't wait to get back at it full swing. So many fucking cool guests lined up. Would be a shame to not have you here for it because man, we bring the goods. Love the hell out of you guys. We'll see you soon. Good luck to us all.